Dr. Megan Woods.
Now, speaking of crazy-shaped coalitions, let's look across the other side. They're going to have to look and see if ACT are out of the dock before they go into coalition negotiations. But that's while they're dealing with a guy that's howling at the moon, not sure whether or not there's been a man put on it, but meanwhile sure he's seen Elvis down at the supermarket. If you want to talk about crazy-shaped coalitions, look in the mirror on the other side of the House. Because, Mr Speaker, on September 20, New Zealanders do face a very real choice. And what do they face? They face a choice between two New Zealands. They face a choice where only a few are getting ahead. Now, the previous Speaker has talked about the confidence that she's feeling while she's out there. Well, I suggest she's talking to the very few people who are getting ahead under this government. She certainly isn't talking to the 46% of New Zealanders who have not seen a pay rise this year, but have seen a rise in their cost of living. She has not been talking to the New Zealanders who are struggling. She is not talking to the New Zealanders for whom housing is increasingly becoming a luxury they cannot afford. There is no air of confidence when you're talking about that, Mr Speaker. But the New Zealanders do face a very stark alternative. On the 20th of September. They can elect a government that is willing to tackle these problems. They can elect a Labour government that does have a solution to the housing crisis, isn't going to sit back and think some kind of magic market with fairies at the bottom of it, fairies at the bottom of the garden are going to fix this problem. Maybe this is in between howling at the moon, because Labour does have a plan. We are going to roll up our sleeves and we are going to build 100,000 houses over 10 years that will be available to New Zealanders as affordable homes. We simply have to increase the supply of housing in this country, and this government does not have big picture thinking that sees a way to do that. They just howl that it's unachievable and it's unaffordable. Well, I'm sure they would have told Michael Joseph Savage in the 1930s that was the case too. It's time to be brave and it's time to fix things. We will also re-gear our economy so it is geared to the productive sector and stop people investing in the housing market and driving the prices up through the introduction of a capital gains tax. And we make absolutely no apology for the fact that we will disincentivise absentee landlords from driving up the price of houses. Because, Mr Speaker, on Monday, in my electorate office in Hoonhay in Christchurch, it was 3 degrees outside. I had several visitors to my office that day. One that has stuck in my mind all week was 3 young people who came in to get a cup of tea and get warm because they were living in a car with another one of their friends. They had been living like this off and on for over a year, Mr Speaker, and this is shameful that this is happening in our country. Meanwhile, this is a government that's telling beneficiaries to come to Christchurch, we'll give you $1,000, but we've got no plan to house you. This is not good enough, Mr Speaker. But what have we have? I have people in my electorate. I have a 70-year-old constituent who at the moment is couch surfing, Mr Speaker. This is not the kind of circumstance I want anyone to live in, let alone elders in our community. We need to have a plan. And what have we had from the National Government in response to Labour's plan? The audacity to pull the racist card on us. Now, Mr Speaker, I refuse to listen to that kind of hypocrisy from the party of the Dawn Raids. I refuse to listen to that kind of hypocrisy from a party that is willing to sit by and watch the income gap grow between Pacific Islanders in this country and non-Pacific Islanders in this country. When that is a government that has a plan around housing, then maybe it can do something other than come up with distractions. Because, Mr Speaker, this is a government that has failed to do anything to address the housing crisis in this country. This is a government that sits back and its ministers tell us, no, we're not going to have problems because the market is magically going to come in and put it. The shrieks and hysterics we are hearing are not credible, and I want to start hearing some answers to the housing crisis from the government members.
Jackie
Speaker.
Dean.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. This is a government which has had 4 priorities in the